98FM. The sound of the city.
98FM's Dublin Talks. Weekdays from 10 a.m.
With Adrian Kennedy.
Now, last night here in Dublin city centre, a group of people, appearing to be in the hundreds, was certainly a large crowd, took to the streets of the capital and marched along O'Connell Street and Grafton Street in support of young Alfie Evans. The crowd consisted of parents and young children holding blue balloons and chanting support for Alfie Evans, the Liverpool baby, at the centre of right to live battle at the moment. Today they are planning a similar march on the British embassy in Ballsbridge. Now, here's just a little update as of today. Alfie Evans' dad has said his sick son could live for years as the family today fights to take their baby boy home after suffering their latest court defeat. His dad Tom revealed that the family would be dropping their legal bid to take Alfie to Rome, saying that the 23-month-old no longer needed intensive care and instead he simply wanted to take his son home. But here in Dublin, people took to the streets last night, and what I really want to focus in on is, what's this all for? What's this going to achieve? Have a listen to, these are the protesters in town last night.
What do we say? We're from the IRA. I'll ride anyone.
So there you are, that's Alfie's Army last night, and as you can hear, a fairly sizable crowd. That was on Grafton Street, and here's another bit from O'Connell Street last night.
Slow down a bit.
Okay, so that was O'Connell Street last night, and a protest is planned for this morning at Leinster House at the British Embassy, and we're going to try and touch base with the organisers of that in a while. The people marching in Dublin want to put pressure on the British government to intervene in the Alfie Evans case. But a lot of people commenting online say that while these protesters' intentions are very good, and I have to say they are, to get out on the street and march like that with little blue balloons and everything else is great. But what will it achieve? It'll achieve nothing. You see, here's the thing. The parents in this case have taken their case as far as they possibly can in the courts in the UK. I failed to see, maybe you can correct me on this, what marching on the streets of Dublin is actually going to do when this family, these parents, couldn't get past the courts in the UK or Europe, by the way, to have him treated. I'd love to hear from you on this on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Do you support these people gathering on the street? Or are they wasting their time? Call me right now on 6797 981. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. Lydia, you're on 98FM. Hi, Lydia.
How are you?
There is a march tomorrow at 6 o'clock. What's this march about?
It's to support Alfie's parents. Like everybody, that little boy is after touching so many people. The case is after exploding all across the world now at this stage. And like if people rallying and people trying to get the UK government to listen in any way possible, everybody's willing to try help it in any way they can.
Okay, so tell me about the protest that's happening tomorrow.
Yeah, well, be protesting outside the English embassy
Okay, the British Embassy in Ballsbridge, yeah.
Yeah.
And for what? Tell me for what?
To show the parents that there's people all around the world supporting them, and that's what it is. And hopefully for their government to listen that it's wrong in what they're doing. It's not right. Like, I mean, the child deserves a chance. He was told, the parents were told he wasn't going to be breathing 3 to 5 minutes after coming off life support, and that the child is still alive today. You know, so I mean, the child's already proving them wrong. Why don't you just let him go? Let him go home. Let him go to Italy, or unless they're hiding something.
Okay, but letting him go to Italy, all the Italians were offering was palliative care.
Yeah.
Now, that's just caring for him in his final hours or days or weeks or whatever.
Well, that's it. Like, so, but they don't feel that they're getting the palliative care. I mean, they didn't give him any food for 6 hours. You know, like, and I mean, what are they looking at their child now not getting fed, and they didn't give him water, they didn't give him anything only after 6 hours. You know, I mean, that's you. If you did that to a dog, it'd be animal cruelty. You know, so I really don't understand why they won't let him go anyway. But let the parents take him home now, where they say Tom says that he thinks that he will live months or even years. You know. Okay,
so the protest outside the British Embassy tomorrow. What? Okay, you're saying is to let the parents know that there's support and blah blah blah. Now they know that already. So they can see that from their Facebook pages and whatever. Outside the British Embassy, obviously it's symbolic that it's the British Embassy. But like, do you think the ambassador is going to come running out the door and say, "Oh, leave it with me. I'll get this sorted"?
Well, no, they haven't done anything so far, have they? So
that's my point. So
yeah, no, it's not. It's about people getting together in support of the parents, and they'll get to see that when they watch it all over the internet now, because the news in England seems to be blocking everything anyway. You know, they don't. Facebook, some of the groups on Facebook were taken down. Organised marches for Alfie has been taken off Facebook.
I'm being told that the family asked for the Facebook groups to be taken down because of all the false information that was being spread on it. I remember seeing one post yesterday that would lead you to believe the young fella was up and walking around, which is totally untrue.
No, I mean, that's ridiculous now, really, isn't it? That's really ridiculous. I mean, that's not what you're going to get. A few idiotic people along the way. I mean, that's just the nature of marches, isn't it? But it's just like everybody wants to feel like they're doing something, you know.
But okay, you're doing something. In reality, you can have 10,000 people outside the British Embassy tomorrow evening, and realistically, nothing is going to be done.
But it's still showing the support. It's showing support, and that's the main thing. That's the main purpose of doing it, is showing support. Regardless if they're going to do anything or not about it, it's still going to be there for other people across the world that are doing them as well, and it's all about support.
All right, stay there for 1 second, Lydia. 6797981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. And if you're somebody who was on the march through town last night, I would love to hear from you as well on 6797981. This was the crowd in town last night. This was on O'Connell Street in town last night. Now, while I accept that the intentions of all of those people there last night was good and they want to save Alfie Evans, I just wonder, walking up O'Connell Street shouting, "Save Alfie Evans," is it actually going to do something for the young fella? That's what I want to talk to you about on 6797981. Text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98. Debbie, you're on 98FM. Hi, Debbie.
Oh, Adrian. I'm going to be slated. And I haven't done and posted anything about this because does anybody know the truth? This is going on about a year and a half. The reason we have to go to court is because the child was awarded to the state. About maybe 4.5, 5 months ago, the child is now a ward of the state. Mm-hmm. The parents don't have rights anymore. It's the doctors and the courts, which is why they have to keep going back to court. Does anybody actually know that?
Well, I have to say I didn't.
That's a fact. That's a fact, Adrian. Okay? That's a fact. Mm-hmm. Now, the next fact I'm going to say is, this is the reason I'm going to be slated. Oh, jeez, how do I put this politely and nicely? Because, oh my God, I'm sorry.
Okay, do you support these marches?
No.
No. Okay, stay there for 1 second, Debbie, and I'll come straight back to you because I want to go to one of these marches in the city centre right now, right this minute. Danielle, where are you?
I'm just at Leinster House, Adrian.
You're at Leinster House, okay.
Yeah.
And ye are having a protest. Is there many there?
There's a few here now, yeah. I believe the rest is at the British Embassy. So we're going to more than likely head over there again. We headed over there last night. We walked from the GPO to the British Embassy at 17 minutes past 9. That was the time that his life support machine stopped.
All right, so that's when you started the march?
Yeah.
17 minutes past 9 last night, okay.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so you marched from town all the way out to the British Embassy.
Yeah, on Merrion Road. And we got police escort.
No, I have to say it was a very sizable crowd. I was very impressed with the...
It was. For the last minute, Adrian, we had an hour to do it. We waited for the verdict. We waited for the results. We just said, what's the point sitting on Facebook and, posting about this baby? Get up off your arses and get out there, and that's it.
Okay, and like I said, I was very impressed with the size of the crowd. Okay, you're heading out to the British Embassy. You're going to be protesting there within the next hour. And what are you hoping to achieve by being there, Danielle?
Well, listen, we want to work. Basically, what it is, Adrian, we may not achieve anything, but we want to show the family that they're not on their own, that people of Ireland are supporting them. Not everybody is, but we are, the people that have turned out and the people that can't make it. And we may not achieve anything, but we just want them to know, and we want the world to know what's going on. Basically, they've sentenced this child to death by turning off his machine. They have no right doing that, Adrian. It wouldn't happen in this country. And you and I know that.
I'm not so sure if it wouldn't happen in this country.
Well,
would you be kept on life support forever? Is that what we should be doing?
Well, listen, there was a lady there last night, and our daughter only died a week ago, 20 years of age, and she was in the same state as Alfie. And, and she that's the way her daughter was born like that, and, she was willing to do that with her child, and she did till the very end. And she came out last night all the way from Clondalkin. And, it was a sad night as well. There was people there for all different reasons, and, it was a great support last night, I have to say.
Yeah, no, like I said, I've seen the videos. I was very impressed with the size of the crowd that turned up. But, okay, outside the British Embassy, within the next hour, not sure, obviously, the time of day, how many people will be there, but obviously you're hoping there will be a sizable enough crowd.
Yeah.
Realistically, though, are you going to achieve anything at all, Danielle? If the parents of this child, through the court system in the UK, couldn't achieve anything, what's a group in Ballsbridge going to do?
Listen, as I said, Adrian, we may not achieve anything, but there's no point sitting at home on Facebook and talking about it. Get out there and show them that we're behind them. The world is supporting them. We're supporting them. We want their government, we want the British government to know they're not on their own, And that's it, Adrian. That's all we can do. As I said, instead of sitting at home and talking over your phone and typing away, get out there and show them we're supporting them and we're there for them.
Right, we're going to ring you back in about 15 or 20 minutes, Danielle, just to find out what sort of a crowd you have joining you in the protest outside the British Embassy. So we'll ring you back in a while, all right?
Right, great, right.
Thanks very much indeed.
Right,
that's Danielle, who is going on a march as we speak. They're outside Leinster House, and it looks like it's a little bit lack of coordination or whatever. There's another group outside the British Embassy in Ballsbridge, or just past Ballsbridge on the Merrion Road. And the question that we're asking is this a waste of time? Sorry, Debbie, just to go back to you now. I can't find anything that says that this child was awarded court.
He was, and I've just been told by a researcher, the parents have literally, in the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks, given their rights back to them.
Well, I'm reading a story here, and it says the parents of baby Alfie
Evans...
Evans...
The rights were taken away from them because they disputed everything in the hospital.
Well, let me read what it says here. This was on the 13th of April. The parents of baby Alfie Evans still retain custody of their son after a press release by the family's media coordinator this morning suggested that the child had become a ward of court. The rumour that Alfie was made a ward of court is false. Tom and Kate retain their parental rights, said
Okay.
Okay, so
I held my hand up if I'm wrong.
Okay, but anyway, as regards these protests, outside the British Embassy, people are gathering to show their solidarity with Alfie and his parents.
I applaud them, but it doesn't do anything for that poor little child, and it never will. And I'll go into something different and I can't. I'm just trying to say here, Adrian, in my opinion, if that was my child, selfishly, I'd want everything for that child, but I wouldn't want the child to suffer. And I'm sorry, I would let the child go. And you all can say I haven't ever spoke about it. It's not on the Facebook how long, and I've never spoke about it. I'm sorry, I will never do that to an innocent child. And if it was me in that bed,
sorry, do what to an innocent child, Debbie?
let the child die with dignity. Let the child go.
Well, he was taken off.
Whoever doesn't bleed like my opinion, I'm sorry. Let the child go.
Okay, he was taken off. Anyway. He was taken off life support the other day, and
he's a fighter. He's a fighter.
That's the point.
But he's going to go no matter what. And there's nothing anyone can do to change it. Nothing.
Okay, so you said in the one breath that you're full of admiration for the people out protesting, marching in the British Embassy.
For other things, but there you go. Next count, I don't get into.
But okay, people have been protesting. There's protests as we speak outside the British Embassy.
Do they really think the doctors in all their hay know nothing? They're calling them murderers. They call the judge a murderer. I'm sorry, that's pathetic.
Okay, stay there for a second, because Sarah, you were on the march last night.
Yeah.
Debbie is saying this is a waste of time. We should respect the rule of the...
prolonging the poor child's agony. Come on.
But you don't understand. That child is surviving on his own as it is.
Yes,
but why does he need to give him an injection?
Mind you, I have to say, Sarah, when I heard his father, Tom, describe that the young fella was struggling, he said he was struggling... Yeah. That really, I'll be honest with you now. Sorry, hang on. Sorry, hang on for a second.
The parents are fighting for him not to get an injection. Why did he need to give him an injection to die? Why can't he just let him go to Italy? This hospital, all the hay, they're hiding
injections, bullshit.
They are trying to give him an injection. The same injection.
No, I don't know where you got that from.
It's in the court order that they're trying to give him the injection that they give people on death row in America.
I don't know where you got that from, Sarah.
Yeah. Do you know where she got it from? It was on Facebook. Because everything you read is true on Facebook.
Sarah, I have to say...
If you're saying that these doctors don't know anything, have you seen any news?
Sarah, can I just clarify... Sarah, I need to clarify this for 1 second. I'm trying to find out this as we speak. I don't know where you got that story. Sorry, hang on. That the court ordered that the child be given a lethal injection.
Yeah.
Now, can somebody...
The father, Adrian, put that up.
So I believe there are posts about this on certain sites, but this is by no means. They don't have the death penalty. It's illegal. They don't have the death penalty in the UK. And this is the point about this conversation, Sarah, that these rumours go around that just aren't true. No court in the UK, to the very best of my knowledge, ordered that child be given a lethal injection to be put out of his misery.
Said it was a part of the order.
My understanding is that the court order was that he be removed from the life-saving machine and let nature take its course. That was my understanding of what
but the doctor said that nature would take its course within 5 minutes. It's now been over 2 days. Why can't he let this child fight? I know people can be in a coma.
But okay, when you hear, as I heard, the father of this child saying his young fella is struggling...
Because they haven't...
That really, I have to say, I can't get that word out of my head to think of a little child struggling and grasping and clinging onto life and maybe not able to breathe properly or whatever. I can't get that thought out of my head, and I just the word cruel just is the word that comes.
Why doesn't the hospital let the child fight in Italy? Why don't he let him go? Just let him go to Italy. What's stopping them?
Basically.
Yeah, but
that's
they
what's going to happen.
Give the child a chance.
you not think a
What
2-year-old
chance
is
does...
even
Oh, I'm not... I just can't. I can't.
That child is 2 years of age. They have a chance in Italy to prolong his life. Why can't they?
And by the way,
A
Sarah,
long
I'm gonna say this
A long
again.
life.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this again. On no reputable site can I find any information about a court ordering that this child be given a lethal injection. And I think it's outrageous. I think it's outrageous that people spread crap like that. Pardon me?
His father said this on Facebook. I read it myself.
Said what?
They wanted to kill him with 2 lethal injections. The father put that up.
Well, I don't know. No court in the UK is going to order that.
It's illegal. Euthanasia is illegal. So here in England, the father put that up himself. That's where they're getting the information from, Adrian. I read it myself.
That's unbelievable. Irene, you're on 98FM. How are you, Irene?
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Good, thanks.
It's a very sad affair, but I have to say to that girl, they were talking about that last night, and that was taken down because it was incorrect. We're putting up sites on the site with an injection at the side of the child's bed, you know, and saying this is a lethal injection. It was taken down eventually last night. That girl is totally incorrect giving us that information. And I'd also like to say where my heart goes out to the family. It's a pity they don't walk on the streets for all the young kids in this country that gets no help from the health board. You know what I mean?
And what's your opinion on them having this these protests?
Well, the Irish are great for fighting everyone else's situation. I think it's a load of rubbish, personally.
Oh, really? You think they're completely wasting their time?
Absolutely. I feel very sorry for the parents. I pray for the child. Don't get me wrong, Adrian, it's an awful time. I nearly went through the same thing myself, right? But my point is that what annoys me how they get up about everything else, and you look at children here that has no services and so ill, you know, and there's nothing there for handicapped children. That's really in a bad way. I'd be marching the streets for their care. You know, that's what annoys me. But I do think that an awful lot of this is fake news, and it was proven last night. A lot of them sites was taken down last night. You know.
I mean, I'm reading. Sorry, somebody just sent in a message just with regards to this lethal injection rubbish. Okay,
yeah, rubbish.
They sent me in a screenshot of, and this is what it says: execution temporarily stopped. UK dad reports, and then the link is to a bullshit news website, a fake news website. Seriously, people, get a grip, for God's sake. No court in the United Kingdom ordered a child be given a lethal injection. Will you get real?
Exactly. All the doctors and nurses would be arrested, Adrian.
Absolutely,
you know
and rightly so. There is no British court would order a child to be given a lethal injection.
There is here, and they're talking.
And I believe some of this false information may be coming from the people themselves, the family or the group involved in this. The courts and the medical experts should be believed in this case. The parents don't necessarily know best, is what one message just said to me.
Well,
but like I said, I'm no legal expert, but I know a British court did not order a lethal injection that you would get on death row in America to that young child. What was ordered was that he be removed from the life support machine. That was it. Danielle is... where are you now, Danielle?
Hi, Adrian.
Now, where are you now?
We're just leaving Leinster House now. We're heading to the British Embassy in Ballsbridge.
Okay, so you're going to be walking down past Marion Square, past Mount Joy Square, or Marion Square. Which one is it?
Square,
Marion Square, and heading out through Ballsbridge, out to the British Embassy. How many of you are there?
I couldn't tell you now. There's a good crowd here now. I couldn't tell you exactly many.
There's a good crowd, okay.
Yeah, it's a good crowd. Like, you know, as I said, such short notice again for people, you know. And there was a bit of confusion where a lot of people headed to the embassy instead of coming here. So, but listen, there's enough of us here, and we're going to just head over here now and see what's happening.
Okay, and you expect there to be others outside the embassy already?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, they're noisy enough. Let's hear them.
Hello?
Yeah, very noisy there.
Yeah?
All right, Danielle.
Right.
We'll touch base with you in a while, heading off down towards the British Embassy. Thanks for talking to us again, Danielle.
Right. Thanks very much, Adrian.
The best of luck to you. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98. Now, Sean, you're on 98FM. How are you, Sean?
Hi, Adrian. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Sean, tell me, we're talking about this little boy, Alfie Evans, and his struggle for life, and how the courts have ordered that he be taken off life support and everything else. You come at this from a very interesting angle.
I've never told my personal story before, so bear with me because it's quite big for me to do so. But I was born, it'll be 26 years ago in December. I have spina bifida and hydrocephalus. And when I was a week old, I suffered meningitis.
Oh, right, okay.
I also...
On top of the spina bifida and hydrocephalus, right? Okay.
Yes. I also lost my swallow, so I was NG fed with an NG tube, and I was in Dublin hospital for about 7 weeks. My parents were given no hope of my survival, and here I am 25 years later. I do not see, I don't see the point in, back then there was no social media, so my parents couldn't put this internationally. I just don't understand why this has got so big. I do believe that he will pull through.
Do you? Yeah.
I believe in miracles because, I'm...
Okay, sorry, Sean, just to go back to your story for a second. You were seriously ill, then you developed meningitis as a baby, and your parents were told that you would not survive.
They brought me home for me to die.
Wow.
And here I am 26 years later.
And obviously you don't remember, but what have you been told about that time after you were brought home essentially to die?
It was an obsession time. My parents, didn't know what was going to happen. And, they just kept on, doing what the doctors had told them, had advised them, if you like. And I am a fighter. And I believe this little Alfie is a fighter, and he will pull through. He will pull through.
Wow, okay. I mean, hearing that story, I find it very difficult to argue with you. And you fully recovered from that, did you?
Yeah, I mean, I spina bifida hydrocephalus is for life.
Yes, and can be quite debilitating, but...
Well, I got through the meningitis, no effects from it at all. I got my swallow back. And in fact, I've one funny story. I was about 1 or 2, and I had enough of the NG tube. So I was in my cot, and I decided to pull it off my face and throw it across the room. And that was the end of that. The doctors could do nothing about it. They couldn't reverse it. They could do nothing about it. And it just showed that I was well. I was well enough to be fed normally.
That is extraordinary. I have to say, that's very difficult to argue. And like I said before the break there, you probably have more of a right to an opinion on this than most. So you were essentially written off by the hospital. Your parents told nothing we can do for him. He's not going to make it. He's not going to pull through. And now here you are.
And here I am. I mean, I have heard of people older than me that the spina bifida was a life sentence, a death sentence. And I have heard of parents or others who have had siblings who have died from spina bifida. So, but I suppose I'm lucky. I mean, but I just, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It may be a dark tunnel for a long time, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
And tell me a bit about yourself, Sean. What do you do?
I'm a disability activist. I fight for rights for people with disabilities. I passed my driving test there just before Christmas. In fact, I'm sitting here in my car about to go off to Dundrum.
Wow, that's brilliant.
And I believe in striving to be the best that I can be.
Sean, you have my utmost admiration, I have to say, and I admire you for telling your story. You say this is the first time you've ever shared this story publicly.
Yeah.
And when it comes then to people getting out there and showing their support for the parents and for this young child, Alfie, you fully support them.
Yes, yeah. And yeah, I fully support them. And I just hope that he will pull through. I mean, I can't wait in the media to be told that he has pulled through. And, he's already showing that with not being on life support for 2 days. I mean, he's already fighting.
Sean, I have to say, I wish you well, and I wish you a happy, healthy, and fulfilled life ahead of you. You're an admirable young fella. Well done, and thanks very much indeed for talking to me.
Thank you so much.
All right, let me just bring in one or two last calls on this. Malachi, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. Hiya, Malachi.
Adrian, how are you?
Malachi, what do protests like this achieve?
Well, they certainly bring it to people's attention, and this is yesterday and today are the first time that this has been discussed on Irish radio.
No, well, the day before as well. But
okay, well, this week.
Yep.
Despite the fact that this is an ongoing story since, I think, originally 2016. And Judge Hayden's decision in the High Court in England in February, on the 20th of February. And I'll just read you one paragraph of that, paragraph 66. And it's a 23-page judgment, so it's quite a detailed judgment. He says, and I quote, "It was entirely right that every reasonable option should be explored for Alfie. I'm now confident that this has occurred. The continued provision of ventilation in circumstances which I am persuaded is futile now compromises Alfie's future dignity and fails to respect his autonomy." Now, clearly, Justice Hayden is wrong in that view, because Alfie is now 2 days into his third day without assistance and surviving without ventilation. So, and that decision has been reinforced and accepted by him subsequently and by the...
Okay, sorry to cut across you, Malachi. The question that I'm asking is, though, what do protests like that one, and I admire the people getting out there, realistically, marching on the British Embassy today is going to achieve nothing. It's not going to reverse the court's decision. It's not going to make the British ambassador storm over to London and say, let's do something about this. What's the point then?
No, well, people have a right to protest. And
obviously.
The British state, and indeed the Irish state, because this is coming to a door near you soon. These things don't happen in isolation.
No, I agree, yeah.
Right, people should look at the background of Justice Hayden in Britain. I'm not going to say anything about it during this programme, but if you look at his ideological background...
Okay, sorry, Malachi, I have to just cut across you for 1 second, because I want to just... back to listen to this march out towards the British Embassy in Ballsbridge. This is Alfie's army marching out towards Ballsbridge as we speak. Malachi, are they going to achieve anything?
Well, your question is, does protest achieve anything? If Rosa Parks hadn't have sat on a seat in a bus in America in the 60s, you would still have apartheid in America today.
Okay, all right, I take your point. Let me just... sorry, I've lost that final call. All right, look, I have to leave it at that. They are the protesters heading out towards the British Embassy in Ballsbridge right now as we speak. And that's where they're heading if you want to join in. And by the way, if you took from me that I don't support them at all, that's completely wrong, okay? I didn't say I don't support them. I just wonder what can be achieved. It's a completely different jurisdiction. The courts in the UK have ruled. What's the point? That's all I asked. It's not that I'm It's not that I'm not supporting them or don't agree with them protesting and everything else. Anyway, this is 98FM's Dublin Talks.
98FM. The sound of the city.
98FM's Dublin Talks. Weekdays from 10 a.m.
With